pretty good. We may have to reevaluate our objectives up there and our spot at the top that we were holding it. May not be able to go to direct. We may have to back off a little bit now, get some dozer lines, some hand lines, come up with a good secure spot a little bit further north on that piece than we were hoping today. So unless the weather changes significantly anytime soon, that's the unfortunate thing, that we're having to back off a little bit on that piece. As we come down to the Nuns Fire gave us a little morning present where we had a new fire up in the just above the Oakmont area last night. It took off in the timber stand there. It's currently about 450 acres. So we directed our attention directly to that first thing in the morning. That was about 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock in the morning. Unfortunately, it made a run towards Oakmont, the top of Oakmont area. We were protecting the south part. Now it's coming out the north part, but it came up to this 12 there, and we're holding it there at the 12, but now it's chunking its way to the east towards the top end of the Nuns Fire there. It's not moving very fast. It's still up there and holding pretty steady. I mean, it's chunking towards Pythian, but we're hoping to hold it at Pythian for reference on which way it's moving that way to the east. As we come around to the lower half of the Nuns Fire, just above the city of Sonoma, we had a good fire front that came out this morning. The wind was blowing. It came into the north end of Sonoma there. The guys were taking action on that as it's creeping in. Thought we had it around the corner. It blew out again on another spot. They're actively on it right now, but it's still working its way down towards the city of on that upper piece there, and still. But we're hoping to skirt it into the lower, or the upper part, the upper part of where the pocket fire, or partridge fire was, and skirt it into that top piece. So we're still keeping it up out of the city limits. Unfortunately, there still are some urban interface structures up on those streets, but we're working on keeping it to the north and to the east on that piece. Thank you.
Thank you for that information, Chief Crawford. Next, I'd like to introduce one of the Unified Commanders that is a part of Incident Management Team 1, and that's Unified Incident Commander Brett Gouveia.
Good afternoon. Brett Gouveia, CAL FIRE IMT-1 Incident Commander in Unified Command with Santa Rosa City Fire Department and Sonoma County Sheriff's Department. As you have heard, there was red flag warnings and strong winds last night, which resulted in increased fire activity. We have a large ground and air resources fighting the most active areas of these fires. There was speculation about the cause of these fires this morning. Due to the increased fire activity, as it was initially reported as a new fire. Fire investigators are currently working on causes of these fires, and that will be released as soon as we know. I remain in constant communications with other incident commanders from Mendocino and Napa County, Lake County, and Butte County, as they are assisting us in sending resources our way as they can free them from their incidents. We now have over 3,000 firefighters and are only one day closer to bringing this disaster to a close. My commitment and top priority remains to bring back normalcy to this community. Thank you.
Thank you, Chief Gouveia. In addition to Chief Gouveia, Unified Commander for the Santa Rosa Fire Department, who's been out here since night one, Fire Chief Tony Costner.
Hello everyone, Tony Costner, Santa Rosa Fire Chief. Just want to start out by saying last night was very difficult for both the Santa Rosa Oakmont area as well as the Sonoma Valley area. I will tell you those crews did a phenomenal job. Not only the fire crews, but law enforcement. We had a large contingent of law enforcement that helped us evacuate the entire area, and that allows us to do our job in the firefight, which was missing on the first night, right? The first night we had our priority is to get people out of the way. It's hard to fight fire when you have to knock on doors and get people going. Last night, we had plenty of law enforcement, and it was a tremendous, tremendous benefit. Both law enforcement and fire are doing everything they can under difficult situations. As you can see in the news, there's some footage that's released. And just remember that we're doing everything we can to bring this to a close. A couple things I also want to bring up. We mentioned Kaiser Hospital was going to be open within 12 hours yesterday. I think I said that. And I'm here to say that it's been cleared from the City of Santa Rosa's inspection process, and it's going through OSHPD right now. It's really close. As soon as we move some advisory or move some mandatory evacuation lines, we can open up Kaiser Hospital. So I expect that to happen fairly soon. When that does, we will send out a press release so everyone knows. That'll help us a great deal. And as far as Sutter, it looks like it's going to be later in the future. But as soon as we figure that out, we will let you know. Sorry, NPR, dropped your speaker.
Thank you, Chief Costner. Just for our next speaker, it's a fill-in. It's on your list from the California Highway Patrol, representing all of the closures that are out there in all these evacuated areas. We have Public Information Officer Jonathan Sloat.
Good afternoon. I'm Jonathan Sloat, Public Information Officer for the CHP here in Sonoma County. CHP's priorities have remained the same. Number one is safety of the public. To that end, we were in East Santa Rosa this morning helping the other agencies get people out of the areas we were afraid were going to burn over. We are still maintaining many closures throughout the county. We have reopened northbound 101 at Bicentennial Way, but all the closures surrounding the affected areas from last weekend are still in effect. And we appreciate if you watch out for them and follow the officer's instructions. In the last few days, officers manning these closures, and these are officers from all around the Bay Area that are assisting us, have got a lot of flack from residents. People anxious to get to their homes, people very frustrated, and understandably so. And we want the public to know that these aren't arbitrary closures, these aren't arbitrary restriction zones. The people at the Emergency Operations Center pour over the data that they get hourly and look at these areas and decide whether or not we should allow people in, escort them in, or whatever it might be, and they bring it down to the officers in the field. So all the officers that are guarding these areas, they want you to be home. They want you to get back to your house, whether it's standing or not, and we want to help you with that. But we've got to keep you out until we can determine that these areas are safe. Because the first time we let somebody into one of these areas and they're injured, they're going to look at us and say, why did you let him into an unsecured area? So there's that, and there's the fact that we're trying to seal these areas because we have had instances of looting. And if we keep a tight seal on it, no matter how many people we let in, those people are going to slip into your neighborhood. So we're not only trying to protect your safety, we're trying to protect your property as well. And lastly, we have had a lot of close calls in the county. I've heard it from my officers all over the county of distracted driving. And some may say, why are you bringing up distracted driving in this incident? This is an unprecedented incident here in Sonoma County. We understand that, and we understand the need to contact relatives and friends and check in with them and make sure they're okay. But if you do it behind the wheel, you're putting everybody at risk. We're trying to keep these roads open and clear for fire equipment to get through. And if you're taking your eyes off the road, you may miss a fire truck. You may miss one of the many, many intersections where we don't have signals working. So we'd appreciate it if you put that phone down or pull over and use it somewhere that's safe. Thank you.
Thank you. Next up from the Sonoma County Sheriff's Department, Sergeant Spencer Crum.
Good afternoon. My name is Sergeant Spencer Crum. I'm the Public Information Officer for the Sonoma County Sheriff's Office. First of all, I want to apologize on behalf of Sheriff Rob Giordano. He can't be with us at this press briefing. He's currently meeting with the governor at a 1 p.m. operational briefing to discuss resource allocation so that you can all get back in your homes. Again, I want to reiterate that our primary mission is to preserve life and protect property, which is what we're doing. Around 5 a.m. this morning, we assisted all the other law enforcement and fire personnel by evacuating the area of Adobe Canyon Road to Calistoga Road along the Highway 12 corridor. We're told that was done in a neat and orderly fashion. We were able to get everybody out and there was no injuries. As far as the search for missing people, we've worked the Journey's End Mobile Home Park and we're going north along Old Redwood Highway. Our goal is to get Old Redwood Highway open as soon as possible, and we're getting close. We're not ready, we're not quite there yet, but we're getting close. We have search teams going out and looking for people and clearing homes, and then we're being followed up by the National Guard members. We have 600 National Guard deployed just for us, and they're going through behind us, searching areas, making sure areas are safe and clear so that you can return home. As of today, we have 20 fatalities. We have no new names listed. The last fatality was found in the Fountain Grove area of Santa Rosa. We're still working the missing persons reports. As of today, we've had 1,643 missing people reported. Out of those, 1,420 have been located safely. We still have about 223 outstanding people. We don't think that that number will be a final fatality number, nowhere near it. We have a lot of those reports are coming from outside relatives, distant relatives and friends who haven't heard from their loved ones, and we're just trying to reconnect everybody. The timeline for finishing our search and rescue efforts, we believe, could take up to months and maybe longer. We don't anticipate keeping you out of your homes that long, but we just want to give you some type of timeline of what we're looking at.
Thank you, Sergeant Crum. Our final speaker today is from the Santa Rosa Police Department, and that's Chief Hank Schroeder.
Good afternoon, everyone. Chief Hank Schroeder, Santa Rosa. I'd like to reiterate some of the other speakers spoke about today with the Rincon Valley evacuation based on CAL FIRE's recommendation. I would absolutely reiterate that the residents in that area were paying attention, staying ready to go, and cleared out of that area in a really orderly and fast manner, which keeps our roadways clear so that responders can get to where they need to be. It is very important. Also, in addition to the mandatory evacuation in Rincon Valley now, we did open up areas on the west side of town to get people back into their homes that were undamaged. There is a map on srcity.org/emergency where you can enter your address to find out if you're in the evacuation area or in an area that you can go back to your home. It's really important for us. We're working very hard in that area, but we cannot have people in the mandatory evacuation areas, neighborhoods like Coffee Park and Fountain Grove area that were the hardest hit. Just this morning, I had residents come in that were help supporting an 85-year-old woman living in the mandatory evacuation area with absolutely no utilities. It is not safe for that to occur. We need your cooperation in that area. In addition, the city and county have opened the local assistance center. It's at the Press Democrat building at 427 Mendocino Avenue. Hours are 9 to 7. They can get all the resources they need in order to start building their lives back. So with that, I appreciate your time, and please stay safe.
Sorry. Thanks, Chief. I just want to also reiterate the single point of information for all fires across California is at the website fire.ca.gov. That is updated consistently, including fire perimeters from throughout the state. Finally, again, where I started off, I want to remind everybody Sutter Hospital will not be reopening today. It's been reevaluated till further notice, so Sutter Hospital will not be reopening. With that, I'll open it up. Everybody will be available for one-on-one interviews afterwards if you want to go deeper with someone and talk specifics. But for now, any questions?